So I kind of want to talk around your circumstances, before we get into what to do about them.
Okay, that's fine.
And
I'm following your lead.
yeah, so first thing, I know that your body is actually shouting at you continuously right now, and and it was probably no accident that you had an accident. There was something that said Collie needs to slow down.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of reasons why that could be, and it doesn't matter whether that's exactly the answer or not. What matters is you open up enough until a flow begins, if that makes any sense. You've been in a flow state in athletic states, and it's okay to also be in a flow state in conscious and awareness states too. So what we're doing first is we're feeling what we are, how we feel things, how we sense things, what it feels like to be you.
okay.
So in your willingness to open up and experience exactly what's going on with yourself, then that's what opens the door to not just healing, but to transformation or opening and awakening, self-realization, all of that. So, looking, airing our dirty laundry with ourselves, taking responsibility for, our lives being exactly the way that they are, our bodies being exactly where they are, and more importantly, our self-identity and our who and what we experience ourselves to be. And we're not doing a very good job at the level of clarity that we have in our contextual experience of human life here. But where do we experience just as validly in the same moment what's true about us that moves through time and space, something that's eternal, something that's universal, maybe. And so the only thing really that's off is the fact that we put 100% of our attention on our body, on our mind, on our personality, on our belief systems, on our relationships with other humans, that we can easily see that none of them know what they're doing, so we better. And the truth is, we are better than most, but at the same time, we're infinitely short of our truth.
I would agree with that. That not that we're mostly better, but that we fall short every day and every thought for the most part.
Yeah, and it's so much worse than even you can imagine right now, because by many aspects, you're doing very good, and you've done a good job at making better choices for yourself in the last half of your life than you did the first half.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you're at the point now where you realize that winning isn't just all about the money.
Right.
It's about, am I happy? Am I at peace? Am I actually a good person? Do I make those around me better and more successful? And to feel seen and honored and validated and correctly described. You don't. Our objective here isn't to lie to each other, but to say, "Hey, man, wake up." So, I would say take a deep belly breath in slowly and let it out even slower. And then open and fill up again. And then as you're letting go, notice that there's an energetic flow that you're already self-aware as. And so you can say, hey, the gate's open. Now, remove what's not true. This flow of consciousness, it's actually what's real and true of you. Integrate it into your experience and consciousness, your awareness of who you are. You know, because if you ignore the best of yourself and focus on the worst, you know, what are you going to create more of? So your body's saying, hey, it's enough right now. It's enough. It's time to be still. It's time to take stock. It's time to evaluate where I am and what I'm doing and how that's going to be reflected in my experience of what I am and what I'm doing over the next few years. Is it where I actually want to go and who I want to be? Or do I want to truly open up into a shift where we actually realize what our truth is? You know, where we experience ourselves, you know, at a state that, you know, is worthy of being called wisdom. So the gate is open. The flow is moving through you as you. And allow that opening, that awakening, that expanded consciousness to remove what's not true. Remove what's not real. So that you can heal. So that you can realize the lesson, understand why it happened, choose a new vector in your life based upon the new information, you know. Given all of the opportunities and who you are, who and what do you really want to be in 5 years? Well, everything that I keep doing, you know, is shooting me off in another direction as if I'm 25 years old and have eternity to live, and so I can, you know, mess around in any way. But you and I aren't that anymore. We are fully formed. We're not growing any more physically. We're not growing healthier. We're not increasing our abilities in almost any way. So, but we are competent, we are strong, and we are capable. And so, in the years where we still have our vibrance left, and given the fact that, you know, we're actually okay financially, you know, so long as we get rid of our debt, you know, it's probably a good idea. And then what is it? So take a very slow breath, and you know that those ribs, you know, breaking the front and the back at the same time. You know, that indicates, you know, that's causing you to sit in one spot and not move as little as possible for you. So that indicates that, you know, you were overstimulated or overwhelmed or, you know, focused on too many things at once, and instead of, again, hey, I've lived well and have gotten to the end of what an average life is close to being. And so, but we haven't yet done our great work, so to speak. In other words, if we're on the other side again, after we drop the body and we're with our buddies over there, and we go back and say, hey, what did you do this time? Oh, yeah, the hero's journey. What did you do? Oh, I fucked around and judged myself so much that I was in suffering most of my life, even though my life wasn't really so bad after all. I don't know why I was feeling so bad about it. Because, we had our health, we had a nice lifestyle, we weren't ugly, and, we weren't dumb. So let's just say that the life that you lived up until this moment, you lived for yourself. You lived for what it was to be that name, that personality, that sense of self, and for that to be the best it could possibly be, even if sometimes you were competing for resources and money with other people that you usually won over. But that's the problem with success.
Right.
The problem with success is it's an oppositional reality. You often against somebody else, each negotiating for the win, each not caring really if the other person gets what they needed and wanted. So we're creating disappointment, we're creating upset, we're creating people who feel bad about their lives. And we don't have the time and space to do that anymore. It doesn't matter how right we are. If we're going to live the rest of our lives pointing out other people's wrongness, then the truth of who and what we are, we'll never know until we're dead again. And frankly, you being who you are, you already making such a really beautiful transformation in that compassion for other human beings, and it being authentic and real. I know that it is. I can feel it. And so, but as a Christian, you oftentimes have to hear Christ's words repeated to saying things like, greater works than I have done will you do. Well, come on now. That's not a fair thing to say to a human, that they'll do better than the Son of God, the awakened one, the one that was like the Father. If you saw Christ, you saw the Father, and Jesus is saying, yeah, I know, this is it. This is what I did. This is who I am. And but I can't wait for you. You're going to do better than I did. Greater than I did. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? If you're truly a Christian, and Christ really said that, then what he was saying was, do not worship me, because I am the same as you. And given the fact that I didn't fully awaken until the very last week of my life, and merge fully with the Father, so that the Father and I are one. What could have I done if I had had a few more years at that state of realization?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And that's what you have. So Jesus said, in his saying that you can do greater works than he did, he's saying, Collie, when you finally choose to awaken, brother, you'll know that you were nothing when you thought you were something. And that the difference between the finite and the infinite is indescribable. And so, but it's that you that has the potential. Because when you operate as that eternal nature, is that divine flow of that unconditional love and compassion for everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing. Because you've opened up your consciousness enough to remember the part that we all share, and that is we're all divine, we're all one, we're all the truth. But then we come here and we forget, and we go unconscious, and we don't remember, and we're not ourselves. And so we live stupid lives, doing stupid things, some of which you could even call evil. But what does it mean, if you go to sleep and have a dream, are you accountable for what you did in the dream when you wake up in the morning? And if this life...
Ask that again.
You go to sleep tonight, you have a dream, and then you wake up in the morning. As you're having breakfast with Sarah, do you have to confess to Sarah about what you did in the dream? In other words, if you're unconscious and you're dreaming and you're acting in accordance with the role of who and what you think that you are, then you're not going to condemn yourself for doing that because you acted out in what it felt like it was real and true for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you've had probably dozens of experiences of divine presence, of an awakened consciousness in your life over the years, those epiphanies, those meetings with someone who really was holy and caused you to open up and experience peace, even if it was just for the time that you were with them. But if a person could be holy enough that when you're in their presence, that you can't hold on to your problems, all you feel is peace, and that heaven is real and here. And if you notice it, then it is. And that's why I do these sessions, is so I'll give a chance that I might notice it for a few seconds. And remember, who I am, and where I'm from. And
the joy that you have from doing these sessions to people for free is that every once in a while you will feel a true blessing to feel holier than you've been at any other time in your life.
Yeah, that's almost precisely why I do it, because my normal life, there's this inner tension and pain and regret and all of these things that are, accurate, according to my life, at least according to my experience. And so I accept this pain, like you're accepting your pain. This is my reality right now, and it's painful. Okay. You're also in the flow. You're also radiating the light and the truth, because in that stillness, in that silence, in that suffering, and you're opening into experiencing that suffering with consciousness, with awareness, with self-realization. When you experience the limitations, the sorrows, the diseases of life, and you choose to open to your truth in the middle of that, that's what everybody's been looking for. And it's not easy, but it's hard. I mean, it's not hard, but it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about softness. It's all about letting the world be the way that it is, and quit complaining about it and judging it, but just seeing it absolutely accurately and precisely, so that you don't take a loss because somebody's crazy and acting out and thinking that they're a thief or a murderer or something. You see who people are and the way that they are, and you decide whether to be close to them or completely disconnected, far away. Because it's time for you to spend a lot of time with the people who actually love you, and at the same time focus on that opening, of that awakening, of that experience of the eternal and the universal, because it's there. If God in your Christianity is omnipotent and he knows everything, if he's omniscient, omnipotent is all powerful, omniscience is all knowing, and omnipresence is everywhere. And so if God is unconditionally loving and everywhere, then everywhere is in heaven with God already. And what's lacking? The noticing that the consciousness of God that permeates every atom of this universe, including your body, that's not the primary consciousness of the body, because somehow you got permission to be the boss of what the experience of reality was going to be for your body. So anything that's uncomfortable, you're the cause. Anything that's broken, you're the cause. Anything that's diminished and unattractive and, whatever it is, good and bad, you're the boss, you're the owner, you're the director, you're the creator, and your life is your experience of your words and actions and inactions. So, as your friend, I'm saying in a very real way, you being stayed put because you really haven't been interested in a lot of introspection and a lot of meditation and a lot of confronting the nature of reality, so that
Agreed.
So that you understand it. Now you've got the opportunity to do it. Because if you can open up, and not just open up, all you have to do is just say, do I really believe that God's everywhere? And if God's everywhere, God's in me. Maybe that's why Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven lies within you. Well, if it's within you, then why don't you take a look? And why don't you, since you got so much time to look and feel right now, why don't you just feel, even in the midst of your pain and suffering, the presence and consciousness of God? Because it's there. All you have to do is look. In your pain, you feel your pain, and if you notice, there's God in your pain. And if you can notice God in your pain and God in your darkness, your unconsciousness, your suffering, and your rage and your hatred, all that. If you can notice God in the midst of that, it's not the angels that have to awaken, it's the devils, it's the demons, it's us. And compared to divine realization, eternal truth, we have absolutely no concept or experience of what that is. Every time that we open up and have a transcendent experience, say, oh my God, it's real, it's true. And then you come back to your normal state of reality and said, wow, that was really great. I must be enlightened now or something, But no, you had a moment of clarity. You had a moment of presence. You had a moment of responsibility. And so take responsibility. Where you're sitting is a result of your every motion and thought and belief in your life up until now. So it's okay for you to say, yeah, this is what I did. This is the results of what I did and what I didn't do, what I said and what I didn't say, what I thought and what I didn't think, and what I felt and what I didn't feel. Resulted in this. So, inherently, we all know that that's true. So allow yourself to experience it. You know it's real. You know it's true. You know that God's in you and me too. And everyone else. It's just when you choose to notice it. And if you choose to notice it, then what becomes of you? Well, you open more and more and more into greater and greater potential of experiencing actually what a being could be if they could do better than Jesus did. You know, how far do you have to open for that to be real and true? Far beyond anything I ever have, but you know what? There's nothing that limits your opening and your awakening and your realization other than what you're focusing your attention on. So focus your attention on God in everything you see and everything you feel and everything you do. Notice God in the experience of now. And you probably won't have to do hardly anything. But when you finally then do something, it's not going to be in doubt, and it's not going to be in unconsciousness, and it's not going to be in fear. It's going to be from your authentic presence and saying, okay, this is the next step, this is the next motion, this is how I realize the potential that I always had and realize it right now. You know, we are who we are, and we created it. Now we're choosing to notice God in the midst of our laughable creations. Yeah, wow.
So, is it your belief that once you go and get to have eternal life, that it will be so much easier for us to open up?
No, if just notice right now, kind of feel the back of your heart, the back of your head. Let your awareness, encompass all of your body now instead of just inside your head. Then notice that outside of your body feels exactly the same as the inside. That in fact, what you are fills the entire room that your body's in. How much more? Well, about as much more as Christ did. And how far was that? Well, if you saw him, you saw the Father, which means there's nothing in creation that you're not one with. I know that's a freaky thing to experience when you're identified as something really strongly. David, Collie, whoever else you might be. When you know that that's who and what you are, and all of your identity has been fabricated by the contextual reality of being born and growing and maturing, and yet you have a belief in the divine, in God, in unconditional universal love. But if in fact there is an unconditional universal love, then it's you too. Because bodies are bodies. Bodies are just cells. It's just energy in motion. What's real about a body, what's divine about a body is the consciousness, not the body. Bodies come and go. The truth of you doesn't. The truth of you It's the one that saves you when you go to sleep, when you lose consciousness. That divinity that you can notice in everyone and everything, it's you too. And as you become more and more aware, or more and more extended in how you open and allow yourself to experience that, then the healings, the forgiveness, that which enables you to be the best version of yourself for the rest of your life. Everything that can be resolved, you open in gratitude and let whatever it is complete its task in your healing, in your opening, and in your realization that, in fact, Christ is your brother fully. He's just like you, and you're just like him when you awaken from the dream. And he awoke from the dream, but then he took off. So, how did he awaken from the dream? Well, he focused for a long time his attention on mystical things that revealed to him, a better map of reality than the one he was taught in church or school or at his home. So he focused on where the truths are that set you free, open your consciousness, help you remember. And that's what you're doing, so you can set the stage for your physical healing, so that you won't be suffering any more than absolutely necessary. But why not a miraculous return to health? Feel those ribs, feel them knitting together already, and then feel God in that connection that you have with your broken ribs. Feel God there. In the midst of that horrible pain and suffering, just feel God at the same time, because the only reason you exist the way that you exist right now in this moment is because God wanted to find out what it was like to be stupid and asleep and cocky. But the funny thing is, God comes in and says, God, I can't believe I have the chance to be this guy, to be so human, to be so temporary, to be so solid. But as soon as the body consciousness starts noticing back that the divine's having a ball being in hell with you, and as soon as you notice that hell is becoming more pleasant, because every time you look at the structure of hell, all you can see is God there too. And it all starts to dissipate. No matter how bad your circumstances are, God's right there experiencing it with you.
Loving and blessing you.
Yeah, continuously. And you with your arms closed and your blinders on, and God with his 1,000,001 blessings surrounding you on every side. You close yourself off in a cocoon and make noises to yourself so that the truth won't disturb your little reality that you're living. Because you won't be you anymore when you wake up. That's the sad thing. Or the good thing. It's probably a beautiful thing. But what I mean by that is your sense of self is comprised almost entirely from the experiences from your birth up until now, and your relationships with other people. But what if you add in eternity? What if you add in every experience your soul had for billions of years in perfect recall? While you're embodied too. At the same time, same consciousness. The eternal consciousness, the universal consciousness, the truth of you. What if you actually experience the truth of you in your body without filters, without judgments, without limitations, and feel that pain, feel that regret, feel that sorrow, feel those sins, and just love them. Instead of pulling back and rejecting and feeling bad and denying, just to open up and embrace them and love the fact that you lived the life that you did exactly the way that you did. Love it. Just like God continuously loves everyone everywhere. If you don't act like God, you won't be like God. That's what Jesus finally figured out. Oh, God's omnipresent? Okay, well then how far do I have to open my consciousness to until I can experience God as God experiences God? Well, kind of, you have to open up all the way until there's nothing that you're not open to experiencing and loving without judgment, letting every fragmented consciousness that identifies as any kind of form that it does do anything that it wants. God does. God's not around there shooting the bad ones. No, the really bad ones get themselves in such a state of terror that when they finally see God in the midst of their suffering, they kind of provide the greatest shock of transformation. And nobody's going to judge them for this. Everybody gets a free and equal chance to choose yes for themselves. Yes to me, yes to freedom, yes to opening, yes to awakening, yes to remembering, yes to knowing what Buddha knew, yes to experiencing what Christ experienced, yes to the characteristics, the abilities, the understandings that you would have as if you were the one that Christ was talking to and saying, you're going to do so much better than I did, good luck. So that's you. You're a Christian. That's you. You're a follower of Christ. And what that means is, when they were condemning him, they said, you call yourself the Son of God. And he says, do not your scriptures say that ye are all gods? Well, kind of the hidden truth has been in there all the time, and all you have to do is apply a little bit of logic to it, because if your God is universal and eternal, and he's open and awake and present in all of that, then he's open and present and awake in you. And if you notice that, then everything opens and everything dissolves and you come back home. So when's the best time to come back home? Right now. Where's the best place to come back home? Right where you are. So you've got a beautiful opportunity to enjoy your suffering with God. But I, for one, am excited to find out what happens. Because, when you decide to go for something, you go for it. So is there anything that feels heavy in you right now? Is there part of your life asking for your attention? what is necessary that you haven't been paying attention to? Something that you forgot about, something that, oh yeah, this is the part of my life where, okay, oh yeah, okay, got it, I remember, I'm back. And it's that easy. You just open and perceive and you're back. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. The trick is to as soon as you do it, accept that as your new normal. Instead of going, wow, and then collapse back on the next thoughts that you have. Or the next person you see that used to irritate you and you decide to carry that into your new present. Instead of that unconditional love of Christ and God and Buddha and everybody else that ever remembered their truth. Be grateful that there's examples of humans that did. And what's a human? Just a bunch of cells. The body doesn't mean anything. The name doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything is the fact that what filled that body is the same divine consciousness that fills your body. Exactly the same one. The creator consciousness of this universe fills you up and fills everyone up. Notice it. See it, feel it. Until there's nothing in you that isn't healed. Nothing in you that isn't open and reveling in these miraculous blessings that have always been there. Just not realized. Go ahead.
It's just, I need to open to more love. I need to open to more loving experiences.
Yeah. You need to notice
Gratitude.
that love is exactly what you are. And the fact that you don't experience that is what you put your attention on. Because if the truth of you is love, and the circumstantial truth of you in the moment is that you're not loving, then you're not being yourself. You're not being real, you're not being authentic, you're not being the true you. And if that's what you've been doing, meaning you haven't been the true you here, then maybe it was about time for your body to take charge, because you've been slipping up so bad, so the body decided to slip up too and show you that it's okay to not work 100% of the time. That it's just as valid to be still and to go inside and find heaven in your own heart, in your own guts, in your own darkness. Until the light sets the darkness free. And the light is you choosing to notice God in the darkness, in the evil, in the suffering, in the pain. When you can notice, it's easy to notice God in beauty, but much more difficult to notice it in something that disgusts you.
When your mom came down to visit you,
Yeah.
were you able to do sessions with your mom?
My mom, the funny thing is, my mom was truly the best guru I ever met.
Yeah.
She was the most loving person I've ever experienced in my life. And
Right there in your own home.
Right in my own home, to everyone. I never heard her disappointed about anyone or anything in her life. Not one complaint.
That's amazing.
And every time anyone gave her attention, especially me, she was just alive in joy. And what did I do?
Yeah.
I judged her harshly and ran off to find smarter people.
Yeah.
Instead of saying,
But the beauty is, even on Earth, as a human, you were able to open up enough and learn that before you went away to eternal life.
well, the thing that's exciting is that for me, I feel like I've come so far, but every time I get a glimpse of the future, it's like 30 years of 35, 40 years of focus on consciousness and awakening and spirit. The progress that I've made in that amount of time is so little as to be, if you're looking at it from the truth, back to the amount of progress that I got, oh, this is a guy that takes 1,000,000 lifetimes to finally wake up. That's nuts.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because you can do it.
But that is the truth about all of us.
But the same truth about all of us is it's over in an instant. And it's your choice. If you feel into Christ saying those words to you, then you have to say, okay, why is my life not that? Why is my life not as loving as God's? Because you're carrying burdens that aren't yours.
We're too simple-minded. We're in our own way.
Yeah. Because with the divine, it's real easy. You want to know what the recipe is? Say yes and let it happen.
Yeah.
Say yes to God and be still and let God act upon you until you're awakened and transformed. It's not your job. You're the one that's unconscious. You're the one that's asleep. You're the one that's fallen. Your job is to notice the divine and to sit in that noticing until you're back, until you've remembered, until you're you're authentically you again. It's really simple. If you're not the same as God in your experience of yourself, then you've gone to sleep, and your job is to experience exactly who and what you are in life. Then open into noticing God in every experience that you have, every thought that you have, every belief that you have, every feeling. And just do it right now in this moment. Notice how much easier life gets even in your suffering. When you experience the fact that God is here wanting to experience exactly this moment with you, in this experience of your body, God's here saying, yeah, I'm in love with this. I'm here with you every step. What do you want to do with this, Collie? Because I say, enough is enough. Put a ribbon on it. Put it in the oven, bake it. Take it out and call it done. Your life is a pretense, as a role, as a personality, as an ego. It's time for an end to all of that and an opening in this moment, in this second, because it's the only time that you can experience God. You can't project the experience of God in the future. You can only open up and feel it right now. Because the now is the only thing that ever exists. You have memories that you hope are accurate of a past now, but it's not now. And you have expectations and wishes and dreams for a future now, but that's not now either. And so we only have now to enjoy now. We don't have the future to enjoy now. We don't have the past to enjoy now. We have now. So, regardless of what your life is, regardless of how painful, regardless of how much suffering there is, it's yours to enjoy divinely, hand in hand with God, who permeates every atom of your body, and thus every vibrational frequency, thought, idea, belief system, energetics, magnetics, whatever, of the body. Far more than you do. Because all you do is push it around, pull it around, judge it, eat things that aren't good for it, and generally, behave less than animalistic.
Yeah.
Because at least animals test out everything and they eat what they know is good for them. And so what's possible? What's possible for you, given who and what you are here? But what's possible for God in that combination of cells and systems that is your body, but it's not your body, it's God's body. And who are you? You don't even know. So quit holding on to it.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are. So quit demanding that everybody recognize you as the role that you're playing, as the story of your pretense, because you forgot. Don't make me or anyone else believe the story that you fabricate out of your unconsciousness, saying, I got to be somebody, so I'm this. And then you believe it, and you put it on everyone else and everybody else. The whole universe has to go into agreement with you because you're a divine being, saying, I'm this now, just like this. This is how you have to deal with me. So take responsibility for that. Take responsibility for the fact that your primary experience of other people is not first in your thinking, oh, I wonder how much I can open with this person and experience a full remembering of our every interaction throughout eternity, something like that. In other words, do you hold space for with the eager anticipation that you're going to experience the divine through the next person you meet and the next person you talk to, that somehow they're going to go through an awakening such
it's
that
so simple
yeah,
that we make it so difficult. We get in the way of it every minute of every day. And every once in a while we get a glimpse of it and don't even recognize the simplicity of it.
Okay, so as the one that was speaking there, that's your identity. That's who you think that you are. So as the one that was just speaking there, take a step back, take a couple steps back from that personality, maybe 3 or 4 steps back, and see the energetic construct of it. The whole thing is fabricated. And it's utilizing your consciousness in a way that, isn't the best use of it.
Yeah.
So notice that construct. Notice who you created yourself to be. See that construct out away from your body. And then just notice that you notice God in every aspect of it. And then that God consciousness, noticing the creation of pretense. And the form and the structure of the pretense. And the lies that hold those together so they can persist through time can't stand the experience of God consciousness being noticed and realized in them by somebody else. And so they have 2 choices. One's to run away and the other one is to resonate with the truth and find their own freedom. So, if you're going to devote yourself now to the betterment of the world, and the legacy of Christ, wanted other people to be just the same as he was. And do it for a long enough time that they can do more and better than he did in the short time that he had after the Garden of Gethsemane? Is that when he finally opened up and experienced the totality of what God consciousness is? I think that was probably a pretty good deal. And then at that point, what is he? Less than a week away from being crucified. And so what does that mean? That means that a holy man can do a lot. That means a saint can do amazing miracles. But at the point that God is free in you, in your consciousness, in your life, in your surrender to feeling, seeing, hearing, knowing God in everything that you experience, that's your healing, that's your remembering, that's your transformation, that's your transcendent shift into that new quantum realm that somebody might say is, heaven on earth, the party's begun, the divine celebration of life is beginning, and I just got invited to the dance. All I have to do is say the magic word and say, yeah, me too. More, please. Until, truth is like a fountain running over and over through my experience of my life. Now, just because I've been an absolute liar in the past doesn't mean that the truth can't permeate every aspect of me if I say yes to it. And I would say it's obviously the same for you, for everyone else. We all lie to ourselves and become something that we don't know or understand, and do our best to create safety and success. But what happens when you wake up a little and you've woken up a little? When you wake up a little and you realize the consciousness is real and true beyond the body. And then when you open up and experience it, it's the same as you. And you're the same as it. And if you saw Christ, you'd seen the Father. And if they saw you, they saw Christ and the Father, and you as one. So why is everybody so chicken to open up and say, yeah, me too? Why is that so impossible to say the simplest thing? And that is, yes, I'm open to the truth that sets me free. I'm open to the truth that transcends humanity. I'm open up to the truth that makes all of God's ways known to me, and the experience of God that always has and always will exist within me as a body, as a human. So as an embodied consciousness, knowing that and experiencing that, then you have to say, okay, I have only one job here, and that is to surrender to the divine in the experience of the moment. So do that in your pain, in your suffering, in your brokenness, in your distress. Surrender to the divine in the moment. And allow divine consciousness, allow God's consciousness essentially to have its way with you. You don't know what's going to happen. All you know is that in every moment it gets lighter and lighter, and all these things that you thought were you, sort of dissolve and fade away, and you're different, but you're more real, you're more true, your actual eternal nature. Everything that falls away, gives greater clarity for who and what you actually are.
It's a simple example of this last hour is the least amount of pain I've had in my body in 5 days.
Well, good for you. It's because you notice God in your pain. And when you notice God in whatever it is you're experiencing, you can't help but smile a little. You can't help but go, are you telling me that God's my best friend? He has my back and my front and my up and my down and my in and my out, everything? Yeah. God walks with you whether you notice it or not. And when you do notice it, that's when you open up to the miraculous change. It's so simple, and I don't know why I never understood it and why I really ever met hardly any people that ever understood it, or at least where I could experience that with them. So what the truth is, I don't know. And the fact that I don't know means that the truth is what I surrender to. And I allow the truth to set me free by being open to releasing everything that's a lie in me. Everything that's judgmental, everything that's something less than compassion, something less than radiant, and something less than true. You find the kingdom of heaven within you when you let go of everything that's not, knowing itself in you as that. You don't hold on to that which pollutes you and defines you and makes you profane. Whatever it is, it's physical or energetic, it comes and goes. You don't have to hold on to any of it. The place to return to is not your unconsciousness, but your truth. It's okay to go unconscious, but come back. Often. And be back more than you're gone. So that your life is a lesson for your kids and for your friends, for your business partners. Is, wow, wasn't I lucky? So be that guy. Be that guy that's so beautifully real and true that everybody that experiences you just feels lucky to be in your presence. And although that may be so far away from what's experienced in this moment, you can experience it in this moment, and this moment, and this moment. The shift is instantaneous, and it's transformational, and you relax into it, you surrender yourself to it, and you awaken more and more and more in each new moment of now. So that's how it's done. And what else is there to say about your poor body? Who are you trying to be that you're not anymore? There's where you'll find your breakthrough. Yeah, feel that solar plexus open up and purge. There's so much tightness there. Now that's a whole new measure of freedom. Find a way to put your feet on the ground. Connect to the earth as soon as you can. Notice that since you can notice God in everything you see, everything you feel, everything you do, and everything even that you understand, that noticing God there produces a flow. It opens some sort of fluctuation to where your experience just keeps getting better and better, because there's a clearer and clearer reflection of what's actually eternally real. So surrender the creation to the Creator. And allow the Creator to become one with you. And it's really the opposite of that, because the Creator has always been one with you. You have not noticed that until now. So as you notice that, notice that you are truly lucky and truly blessed, because God truly is your best friend. And He's miraculous and divine. So I got a little bit of preachy this one. I don't normally do it quite like that, but it seemed to be the thing to say to you.
Well, because the simplicity of his love is so simple that we try to put all our definitions of what we think it's supposed to be, that we've learned through our whole life,
Yep.
in the wrong scenarios.
Yeah, if God consciousness is going to awaken within the profane, then there's no preparing for it, because everyone that's not God consciousness is profane, and including me, including you, and there's not a prerequisite for you to experience yourself something other than what you authentically have created. So all you have to do is be real. To say, this is me, just like this. This is what you get right now. And then you give that, you put yourself on the altar of God's truth and say, oh, let's see what this divine fire does to the person I created. Oh, it virtually burns up everything that you created, because nothing that's created can survive the presence of God. Because
the biggest example that all of this has done for me is during this hour, I have not felt comfort but pain for the last 5 days. I think worse than I've ever felt it before.
Mm-hmm.
And during this last hour, I felt no pain, none.
Wow.
Because I wasn't concentrating on that. I was concentrating on God's love.
Yeah, and not just His love, not the idea of love, but when you open to experience the reality of what it is to be embodied, and all of those things that have been run away from, and experiencing the reality of physicality in life. Now you experience those and you notice God in that, and that's the transformative shift. You become your truth and you become one with God, and the divine is free to experience life as you. And that sounds pretentious maybe, it sounds disrespectful to Christ, but how could it be if Christ said you're going to do better than He did?
It sounds too deep for me when I start going down it that way, though.
Yeah. Well, it is too deep for you. You're the one that has to relax and surrender and let God hit you up on the side of the head for being an idiot. Because you came here to live life divinely, to live life eternally true, eternally you, the real you, the authentic you, the one that lives with God and God lives with you. and you're awakened and present and noticing of that. What's wrong with that? Nothing. So allow God to be true in you instead of you asleep to the truth and living a lie.
Allow God to be true in you.
Yeah. That's your painting.
Yeah. To be true.
So what's the one simple move that you're going to be taking after this call? What will you stop carrying today?
I think it's this simple. Slow down and give yourself to God's love.
Yeah, I would say it just a little bit differently, because that's more of an idea and a concept, and what makes it real is the experience of it, not the thinking of it. And so,
Slow down and experience God's love.
no, experience heaven on earth as being inside your experience of yourself. It's part of you, just like what I've been saying about God consciousness being in universal wide, including every one of your atoms. If you put the focus that truth is something that's not you, that's outside of you, then you never wake up here. You have to notice that God's in you and that you're in God. That no matter where you put your consciousness in this universe, you find God there. And you notice that there's no limitations on how far your consciousness and your awareness can extend out. And you can do like Jesus did and say, okay, how far does God go? And you open yourself up to find out. And you find out that it never ends. And when you're never ending, because you were searching for the end of never, ever ending, then you find your wholeness, you find your universal nature. And that's what we're working toward, and that's why we're friends, because underneath it all, we both have a desire to experience what's real and what's true, and what our potential is. What is it to realize your potential at our ages? After a lifetime of not realizing it, just to put it nicely. So that's what we're opening into. That's what we're sharing. That's what we're experiencing. And notice how less protected we feel like we have to be, the more appreciated, the more well regarded, the more supported. So allow your reality to build on that with the people who are delighted when you call them. Then
I need to say this to myself, because to me this makes sense. Even though it might not make sense to you, It's what makes sense to me. And that is, slow down and experience God's pure love.
Yeah. Not just slow down, be still. Which means don't do anything.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's saying it a different way, but okay, I'm okay with that, because I never try to be still, right? So be still.
Which means you're not planning anything, you're not intending anything, you're not trying to move energy, you're not trying to share thoughts. You just went inside, closed your eyes, bowed your head, and maybe just focused on the center of your heart. And whatever you notice, whatever you whatever you see, you see. Whatever you feel, and you don't do anything about it. You don't judge it as good. You don't judge it as bad. You just experience what it is, and your willingness to experience whatever it is what allows you to notice God in that experience, and noticing God in that experience is what allows you to be free from it, free from the limitations of it, because you've let go of the definitions and the belief systems that structured your reality.
Be still. Be still.
Yeah, don't steal. Don't steal. Be still.
Don't feel. Be still.
No. Do feel. But don't steal. Be still.
Feel.
Right. So, good, you're back. You're back. Feel the experience that you notice God in everything in yourself all at once, and you just notice that you're back, that you're awake, that you're free. And you're divinely feeling the suffering of the body, and the more that you open into feeling it, and the more that you love it, the more that it's free, the more that it heals, and the more that the flow, becomes a divine one. So that's each of our jobs and each of our tasks, and we're each doing exactly the way that we're doing. And now might be the time to say yes to it being better than what it's been. So that's a yes from me to you. Yes from me to myself. It's a yes for me to everything that's divinely self-aware. Me too. I'm in.
All
right. Okay, I hope that wasn't too sacrilegious and antagonistic towards religious teachings.
It was the best experience that I've had with you in one of your sessions.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad it was good for you, because the reason that I do these is so I can experience what we just experienced. Because if I'm not doing this, then I'm so far to the degree that I've progressed, I'm not experiencing this. So I do sessions so I can wake up and experience this. Because I know that my life is best when I do sessions. But before I do a session, I never realize how far I'm going to open up. Because once you shut back down, you don't know how good it really was when you're open and free-flowing and true. You just don't have the reference point anymore, because it's not your reality anymore. But it's why we're here, is to wake up and embody the truth that sets us free. And it's not for us to decide what it is when we're unconscious. Because we don't know. When you don't know, you don't know. And when you don't know, your only job is to surrender that to what's eternally real and true. Not what's circumstantially true. Not the truths that judge others or judge yourself, but the truth that sets everybody free. That's the truth that's worth focusing on. That's the truth that created this reality, and it's in every one of us. And we're choosing to begin to notice that, and in that noticing, to know that the truth has always been true, and it's always been in us, and it's always been real, and that there's nothing that we have to do except, oh yeah, I'm back, I remember, I'm free. And let that percolate through your experience of yourself. You got plenty of time to do it, and good luck.
All right, see you later. Thank you.
All righty, thanks. Good night. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know if anybody's going to watch that, but I'd like to say I really did this for you, whoever you might be. But I don't know if that would be true or not. Because I'm still acting from an identity. I'm still acting from some belief systems and such. So you can't believe anything I say, you know. But if it opens you and inspires you and makes you surrender to the greater truth, then it was somewhat useful. So, okay then. Good luck with every aspect of your free-flowing expression through life as the consciousness that sets life free. Why not that for you? And be okay with that being me too. I'd appreciate that. Don't click like. Don't click like. Don't click the bell. I don't know if there is one. But there's no need. Just be you. Just be authentic. And then go about your business and be magnificent in whatever it is.